Hey there. This is a very impromptu live. I had no plans on doing this, but it's Friday night. What else have we got going on? I recently got this heat press. It's an HTVRONT heat press. And I put a code on my page today with a link to it on Amazon Canada. And a couple of people have bought it, but that means you could use a little bit of help in learning how it works. So I thought while it's on my table still, I'd walk you through it. So if you have questions as this goes, pop them out there. I'm going to keep an eye on my phone. I'm just plugging it in right now. Once plugged in, our power light, of course, lights up, and it's ready to be turned on. Now, I created for my retreat a little sign that went with my heat press that I'll make it a photo and I'll put it out as well. But it gives some basic instructions for use, a couple of warnings, and a couple of suggested heat temps and times. Leah Pierre does not have a question yet. She has not joined. Just saying. So I will put that up on as a photo so that you guys have those little bits of instructions that I've got. Now, once you hit the button, it's going to come up with a temperature and a time, and it's going to start heating immediately. It only takes about 4 minutes to get to temperature. Okay, so it doesn't take long. But let's see if I can zoom in here. Oh, it will let me. Look at that phone action. We have a few things going on here. Number one, we have our power button. Off, on, off. It just blinks when it's off. On. We now get a display screen. We then have our temperature and our time. So this is so that we can set our temperature and so that we can set our time. Then once you've selected one to set, you have your up and down. So if I want to set my temperature, it's right now heating to 310. Maybe I want that to be 280. Set my temperature, give it a moment, and it's going to start going back to warming up right now. Then over here, if I hit my time, it's right now set to 15 seconds. Maybe I only want it to 10 because I'm testing things out, seeing how it works. Okay. Down at the bottom are some additional settings. We'll get to those in a few seconds. The R is flashing green or red because it's not up to temperature yet, but it is coming. Okay, so it'll go green once it's up to temperature. Now this heat press does take the same energy as a standard iron. I did check it out. So there's no doubt it should work with the same power as your iron. Piera, I know Leah messaged you. I'm positive of it. So I'm going to zoom it out just a smidgen here, see if I can. Oh yeah. I feel like I'm learning a new phone today for some reason. This heat press has a drawer, which is our pressing space. I have 2 Teflon sheets sitting on it right now, and I made a little cover. Because I was going to be allowing other people to use this at retreat, I just made myself a little cover. It's got some elastic in the bottom. It just allows it to protect the ironing board. So for functionality, this is your ironing board and this is your iron. That's really the basics of how this works. So I'm going to put that protective layer back on. No, I do not have a pattern for this. Just slip her back on there. I'd like to try making grilled cheese on it. Maybe I need to make some fried spaghetti. Slip a Teflon sheet down there, throw some spaghetti on it with some Parmesan, put the other sheet down, sandwich that. Maybe. All right. So as I mentioned, the R that's flashing red means it's warming up. When it's green, I can push my drawer in I can hit my button, the press is going to go down, and it's going to press my fabric. At the end of its time, it's going to lift up. Now, I do have some samples to play with here. In fact, I brought a piece of vinyl out so that you guys can see that it can press vinyl. Always test your materials. That's all I have to say about that. Test your materials to see if they're going to melt on you. We don't want melting. It's just a bad situation. If you're ever going to do vinyl, always put it vinyl side against your ironing board, never vinyl side against the heat. Okay, so again, remember, your iron is on top, your ironing board is on bottom. You can also throw a Teflon sheet underneath it if you have one, just in case a mess happens. And then I put a Teflon sheet on top to protect the iron plate. I don't think I could afford to, Leah, but nice try. I did set my temperature to 280 degrees Fahrenheit. That's typically what you'd use for Decoville, heavy or light. And then you'd use like 15 seconds. Now, because I'm doing vinyl and I am just using an SF101, I've got it set for 10 seconds. Vinyl, you have to experiment with. So I'm going to push that in. I'm going to hit the button. It's only taken 4 minutes to warm up. You'll see it pushes down, it applies some pressure, and I'm going to keep my hands out here. You can't, it's going to lift up for me automatically. It opens up, and it's now safe to remove my project. So I've got my handle, and I can pull it out, and we're fused. I still have a little pebble on that vinyl. I didn't even press the pebble out of it. I'm impressed. That would be cheaper, Pierre. They're almost $100 cheaper US. So that's how you can press your vinyl. Now, if I am pressing cotton, one of the things I like to do before I start interfacing it is I do like to just press it flat, get the permanent wrinkles out. So I'm putting my pressing sheet on it, and I'm going to use one of those features, which is the A. This is automatic. What it means is every time I slide that drawer in, it's going to automatically close. I don't have to hit the button. And you can see that it's activated right here. Okay, so I'm just going to push the drawer in. It automatically goes down for me. It does its countdown. We're counting down now. And we're done. It automatically opens. I could have gone and got a cup of coffee. You didn't know if I was standing here. And now I can pull my drawer out, and my fabric is pressed flat. Nice, pretty fabric scraps. Now, this is only a heat press. It is not a steam press. Okay? So if I'm interfacing my fabric and it requires some steam, I have a bottle of water, nothing fancy. Give her a spritz, cover her up. Now, this is cotton with a woven interfacing, so I do want to change my temperature to a little higher. Okay, so I'm going to hit my temperature button. It's currently, let me zoom in on this. Let's see if I can zoom in. Come on, baby. There we go. All right, we're going to zoom in on this. And temperature, I'm just going to hit that button. And I'm going to go up to 310. It goes up by 5s. Okay, it went red, so it's heating up. And then I'm going to change my time to 15 seconds. So here I'm at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And we're going to let this warm up for a moment. The squeaky bottle, Leah, is for the plants. The non-squeaky bottle is for the sewing. Just for the record. So again, I have cotton and a woven interfacing. Yes, my interfacing is going off my cotton, so it's going to stick to the Teflon sheet. I'm not worried about it. It's all scraps. My pants aren't that fancy, Piera. They're just jeans. But we are going to give this a second to warm up. We're 293. I just used this to fuse a prototype I've been working on. And I used it for the woven interfacing. And then I used it for the fusible fleece. And then I used it just to press some of my fabrics. And it was so much quicker. So much quicker. All right, so 303. We still got 15 degrees to go. In the settings, there are some preset options in there. There's a preset 1, 2, and 3, and you can actually change the presets if you want. Maureen, it does come with one really big Teflon sheet, so you're okay. You don't absolutely need to buy extras. I bought extras because I didn't know if it came with anything. So these are the extra sheets that I bought that were smaller. And if you're worried about fusing to your board, throw a piece of parchment paper on that. You can always replace that parchment paper. So we're at 310. We're going to put this in. Again, it's on automatic, okay? Automatic is just this button, the A with the circle, which means I'm going to throw the drawer in there and it presses. I can go get my cup of coffee because I've got a whole 15 seconds. And if I drink it black, I don't need to worry about it continuing to press. We're almost there. And it's lifting up. There's a little bit of stick of my Teflon paper sticks to that plate a little bit. So that's why I always grab it on the side here to pull that down. Just a little bit of static. Comes with being in Calgary. We're going to flip that up. And I have managed to fuse to my Teflon sheet as expected. But she's fused. Ready to go. Okay, so I am going to add a piece of fusible fleece to this. I have 2 scraps actually. We're just going to fuse one because I have other things that I get to fuse. When I'm using fusible fleece, I do reduce this to 10 seconds so that I can see where it's at. And if I have to press it a second time, then I can do that. So I've just hit the time and I've dropped it down to 10 seconds. I can also reduce that temperature if I'm a little worried about it. You never know. And again, we're just going to shove it in. That A for automatic is on, so it's going to press. Now in my 10 seconds, I'm going to see if I have time to go get some scissors. I hear it coming up. And I didn't have to watch it to make it come up. Grabbed some scissors. All right. And I've got my fusible fleece all adhered, almost. One thing I do know about fusible fleece, it likes water. It likes steam. Okay, Leah, you may be correct. I might be doing this to avoid my list of stuff to do. Might be. Hanging out with you was so much more preferable. I do have extra interfacing on this end, so I'm just going to let it hang off the edge. And we're going to press this again. Now that I've spritzed her down, let's give her another spritz. Fusible fleece likes steam. I know that from experience. And we're pushing it in again. And the auto goes. And this time it's not going to stick to my Teflon sheet because I stuck it out. Go get some bacon. I wonder if this could cook the bacon. Flat bacon. That would be fun. Let's see if that's fused. She's almost down. I've got a corner that's still sticking up a little bit, so I'll fuse it one more time. So that gives me a ball game where I know that 10 seconds at 310 isn't enough for my fusible fleece. So the next time I can start it at 20 seconds or something like that. What else have I got here to fuse? I have some Decor Bond. Maybe we'll put some Decor Bond on our vinyl. We'll reduce our temperature again. All right, so that's some fusible fleece. All attached there, ready to go. I'm going to turn this temperature down because I'm going to put my vinyl back under it. Just hit the temperature button. We're going to go down. I'm going to go down to 280. We're going to leave it at 10 seconds. Now, so long as that thing's blinking, it has not changed temperature for me. So we're going to give that some time to change temperature. We're going to do two things. We're going to do some Decoville and some Decor Bond. Pierre, is this a little bit of a flashback? We haven't used Decoville or Decor Bond in so long. It's been years since I've seen that in a pattern. We used to use that all the time. These ones typically don't require any moisture, but just gonna spritz with my trusty water bottle that doesn't squeak. I'll set that on top. Get rid of the dust. Now there's an error that might come up if it's overheated, at which point you just need to unplug it, let it cool, plug it back in, and then set your temperature again. That could be that you've been pressing so much that it keeps heating up in between presses, so just give it time to cool. That's one of the main things I've seen. If you actually have something on your table when you push this in, and this goes down and it's off kilter, it's going to lift right back up and make you try again. So you won't be able to press it if you've got something holding it up. And that could actually be a really heavy seam. What I have found this really useful for is pressing my quilt blocks flat after I've done my piecing and I've done my generic pressing, okay? I'll just bring it over here. I'll have a whole bunch of blocks and I'll pop them on one at a time, just using the automatic press to press those. So I'm at 280. My light has stopped blinking, which means the temperature is ready. I'm gonna turn the auto off. And all that means is when I push that drawer in, it's not going down. I have to press the R to make it press and start the countdown. That's truly a Decor Bond before Emmeline EB Fuse became the best. We are all using EB Fuse, right? Maureen, I did not pay for any extended warranty. I am notorious for not using warranty. I also feel that I would probably call the company HTVRONT if something was wrong before I would go back to Amazon. So this is the vinyl, just for the record, where I've pressed the Decoville light. Just unplug it and plug it back in. Yeah, exactly. This is the Decor Bond, 280, 10 seconds. Those things are fused. There's no doubt in my mind. Those are not coming off. What else have I got here? I have a wrinkly piece of fabric. Let's try that sucker. We're just going to give it a spritz to get the creases out. Lincoln's standing here telling me he thinks it's dinner time, and it's not. We're going to push this in, hit the R button, and it's going to press again. You, mister, still have 30 minutes. I'm getting the puppy dog eyes. Look, guys, it's really, really hard. All right. Pull my drawer out, and she's flat as a pancake. I hope your pancakes are flat. Mine are. All right, let's put, what have I got over here? I got more Decor Bond. Let's put that directly on the cotton. This is actually a wax cotton, an African print, an African wax cotton. That doesn't mean there's actually wax in the cotton. It means that the print used cotton, or the print used wax to get the print. And push her in, hit the button, 280, 10 seconds. Now, something that Jacqueline had asked me about, and this does get warm, just for the record, this does get warm. It's not smoking hot, but it does have a hot surface warning, and you don't want to be leaning on that when it's coming up or anything. This, however, does not get warm. Well, there's a little bit of heat. And then on the sides, there's actually grab handles for moving it. So you can easily move her around. And Decor Bond adhered. Are there any questions? Don't rob him of his supper. Dude, I could not rob that dog of his supper. He will never, ever let me. Things that I like to use again, I have a water bottle. I like to spritz my fusible fleece. It provides the steam between the Teflon sheets. I do like having something on my ironing board. I use a wool mat at in my sewing room at my ironing station. So that's just a preference of mine. Something Jacqueline Sear had asked me about. She uses her heat press, and then once it cools, she likes to leave it closed on a piece of vinyl that needs the wrinkles pressed out of it. So almost like having heavy books set on it to get a wrinkle out of it or to get a crease out of it. Something you can do is you can turn this on. Don't even set the temperature high or anything. Just turn it on, plug it in, hit the press button so it goes down, and then unplug it. That's going to give it that pressure on your project without the heat being on. Then when you go to plug it back in and turn the power on, it's going to open up. In fact, that's how my press came when I bought it brand new. It was closed. So I'm going to turn my temperature way down. See if we can get her to cool down a little bit so I can show you what that looks like. I'm just going to put some fabric between my layers. And my thingy. All right, so what I'm talking about, to get the creases out of your vinyl, when this is cold, not while it's hot. While this is cold, turn it on with it plugged in, press this in, and hit the press button. Then go to your power cord, unplug it. It's maintaining pressure on your project so that it can push the wrinkles out of your vinyl without any heat on it. So we're not melting anything, but you could leave it for a day that way and just try to get the wrinkles out of your wax canvas or your vinyl or your cork, like setting heavy books on it, but it's an isolated place. It's not sitting over there in my husband's way. So I'm going to plug this back in, and we're going to open that up. So when I plug it in, it checks all the stuff. The power button is flashing. Once I hit power, it's going to lift up, and my drawer is free reign again. So I'm going to go through just a quick overview of all the features again, just so that you guys can see it. Yes, the link is in this post. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Here we go. I feel like a pro, Leah. We have this drawer here. I have covered it with my own little slip cover. That is your ironing board. The top of this is the iron. We have our power button. It blinks white when it's powered off. We have our temperature button. By pressing that temperature button, your temperature blinks, and I can go up by 5 degrees or down by 5 degrees. I'm going to set this to 280. That's typically where I want to use it. When the temperature is set, it turns red on this R button so that it can warm up to the temperature it needs. The other button down here is your time. When you hit that time button, my time blinks and I'm at 10 seconds. I could go up to 15. I could go up higher if I'd like. And of course, you're down. We do have some automatic presets down here, as well as the settings, and my favorite button, which is the auto button. When you hit the A with the two arrows going around, it shows on the screen. What that's for is so that when you push your drawer in with your project, it will automatically press. You don't need to hit the press button. I'll show that one more time. I'm going to turn off for the moment. Then on the far right, your R. So long as it's flashing, it is either warming or cooling. Right now it's flashing red, so it's not up to temperature. It'll flash green if it's at temperature and coming down. And it goes solid green when it's reached temperature. Okay? Your HTVRONT, HTVRONT, I don't know what the actual name is. That's the brand name. Or how to pronounce it, actually. It will come with one large Teflon sheet. I did buy a 2-pack of small ones just for me to have on hand. Then I have one under and I have one over. Totally optional. One heat press is lots. When I have that auto turned on, I'm going to hit the auto. I get my auto sign here. I can put my piece of fabric down. And when I push the drawer in, it automatically goes down and starts to press. It's doing its countdown. I'm not going to have my hands anywhere near it. And it's going to open up automatically for me so that I'm not burning my project and I don't need to remember to pull it out. I can go get a cup of coffee instead. And maybe we're pouring our glass of wine at this time. I see you joined me. Now, if I don't want to automatically press, I want to do this manually. I can set my project down. Let's put another fusible fleece on this sucker. Just trimming my extra off. I have a piece of fusible fleece here. Fusible fleece needs steam to adhere. It just does not work very well otherwise. I use my water bottle. I'm going to give her a spritz because this is heat only. Okay? And then I'm going to cover it with my sheet. And with the automatic on, I'm going to push it in. It's going to go down. Now, fusible fleece typically does take a couple tries to adhere, which is no big deal. It means maybe I should just try a higher temperature and a longer time. I have no problems pushing it in a second time. Sometimes I'm doing a bigger piece, so I'll let it hang off a side and then move it in. So here it's done doing its 15 seconds. Let's take a look. Not quite adhered as much as I want it to be. So I'm going to give it another spritz. Cover her up. If I wanted to reposition something once it's under the press before it closes on me, I can turn that auto off. That allows me to push this under. I can shift it side to side, back and forth, however I want to. And then I just hit the R button and it's going to press. And again, it's still going to stop at that 15 seconds. So it's doing its countdown. I did have a request from somebody to show them how it works, what they need to know, that kind of thing. One of the things I absolutely love about this is the footprint it uses is just the square base. I don't need to have room for a big swing arm coming out a side, nothing like that. I just need a table that this can sit on. Then it's self-contained in that one spot with the drawer in while it's off. There's no big deal. Maureen, this is one of those water spritzing bottles. You can generally find them at your local quilt shops with really cool quilty phrases on them. Mine's really, really old. It actually has a plastic bag inside it, so it aerates and mists the water, instead of spritzing water droplets. I just feel I use less water this way for some reason, and it spreads better on my project. To turn this off, as simple as hitting the power button and let it cool. You'll be able to feel its temperature. I did point this out at the beginning of my live, and I'm going to point it out again, and I will put this as a picture on a post. I created this for attendees at my retreat because I was letting them use it while they were there. It's got some instructions for use, as well as a couple of warnings. And then I've got a couple of suggested temps and times. So cotton with woven interfacing, 320 Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Cotton and Decoville, heavy or light. I recommend 285 for 15 seconds. If you're using vinyl or a faux leather, press it for 10-second intervals at lower temperatures until you get the right results. Otherwise, I love this thing. I don't burn anything. I've got no scorch marks on stuff from this one. Whereas my iron, I may have left it on projects in the past. May have. So I don't want to sell you on something. I just want you to know that this is how much I love this product. Okay. I still use my iron in my sewing room. This is on my dining room table right now, and it does actually live in the basement. But when I'm prepping a project, I will pull this out. And then during the project, I'll still use my iron because I've got funky seams to press. I've got a zipper to press around. I might have something that I don't want heat against, things like that. As you can see, the top is nice and cool. I have no problems touching that. And the base stays nice and cool. There's no problems there with heat. It's not pushing heat down to your surface underneath. It does use the same electricity, same voltage as an iron. So if your iron dims your lights, your heat press will probably dim your lights. I'm just saying. Maureen, I will post a picture of that sheet on my Facebook page as well, so that you can have that as well. I'll make sure that goes up today. If there's no questions, then I am going to let you guys have your evening. It's 6:15 here, so Mr. Lincoln has 15 more minutes while he gives me his puppy dog eyes because he thinks he's starving to death. We know he's doing that, right? Starving to death. But let me know if you have questions. I am happy to answer them. I may not know everything about it, but I certainly know what I use it for. If you have heat transfer vinyl, you can heat transfer with this. It is a heat press that it's meant for that. Totally meant for that. And Maureen, reach out if you have other questions. Thanks, everybody. And I hope you love your heat press when you get one. It is a bit of a game changer. And I hate to say that because people said it to me for years and I didn't believe them. They're right. They're really right. Have a good night, everyone.